Your 401k just might be at risk. In today's video, we're going to discuss an executive order that changed everything. The SpaceX IPO and many other IPOs that are coming, they're going to change the game for Americans' 401ks. I want to take you back to the late 1990s when President Clinton created subprime mortgages. From 2000 to about 2006, everybody came rushing into real estate. Everybody was getting rich quick, unbelievable housing boom. And then all of a sudden, boom, everything came collapsing down. And go do your research. Which companies monopolized the housing market? The era of cheap money is dead. So now here we are. They printed more money than in history, more money than in history. Think about that. The wealth gap became massive. We're heading into a K-shaped economy. And now all of a sudden, they're going to allow your 401ks into things like SpaceX, private equity, private credit. You need to pay attention. So here's what I think is happening. Is what they're going to do is they're going to use our 401ks as the exit liquidity. So crypto's getting liquidated right now. Everybody's rushing into AI to get rich quick. 401ks are now going to be pushed into AI technology, private equity, private credit. And as that thing goes up, boom, it comes collapsing down, just like they did in the housing market. They're going to liquidate, they're going to accumulate, and they're going to consolidate. So you just need to pay attention. So I'm not here to sound the alarm or warn you on what to do. You have to decide what to do. What I'm here to do is to empower you to make decisions. So what I do is I do the opposite. I play it safe. Everybody's running from crypto right now. When I see the fear and greed index 10 below, I'm going in. When everybody comes rushing in, I'll give you an example. Okay, I had somebody call me just recently. And they said, "What do you think about the SpaceX IPO?" I said, "That's a great sign. That's a great sign that we're forming the top. We're getting to the top of the bubble." Now, I don't know when it's going to collapse. I don't know when it's going to pop, but there's never been a cycle, never been a market that continues to go straight up. So this is about preparation, not about fear, about understanding, stoicism, and calmness. So this was the executive order that changed everything. How many of you, be honest with yourself, knew that this executive order came out on August 7th, 2025. So this is democratizing access to alternative assets for 401k investors. Now, I'm going to show you on the back end, if you stay to the back end, how overvalued the stock market is. Many wealthy Americans and government workers who participate in public pension plans can invest in or are beneficiaries of investments in a number of alternative assets. Yet, while more than 90 million Americans participate in employer-sponsored defined contribution plans, the vast majority of these investments do not have the opportunity to participate either directly or through their retirement plan in the potential growth of diversification opportunities associated with alternative asset investments. So this is basically allowing 401ks to be pushed into alternative investments. Now, remember the private credit markets. We've been showing you the cracks in that. The private credit market was formed after the housing collapse when they printed a ton of money in a low interest rate environment. A whole new bubble formed, which is non-bank financial institutions providing credit. So we have a crack in the private credit markets. We have a massive AI bubble forming right now. The stock market is skyrocketing. But if you pay attention to the stock market, it's at 69 trillion. GDP is at 36 trillion. What's the gap? That's the things you need to understand. What's that gap? Okay. Number two is if you look at the stock market's performance, it's almost all the AI and tech companies. All the other companies are underperforming. Not all, that would be a broad paintbrush, but most companies are underperforming on the stock market. The CPI numbers just came out. Inflation is staying steady and going a little bit higher. Nothing makes sense right now. So if nothing makes sense, then why would you play Russian roulette with your retirement? Okay, so this is right on Fidelity's website. How to participate in the SpaceX IPO. Interested in SpaceX IPO? Get step-by-step instructions how to participate. SpaceX is a private aerospace manufacturer and space transportation company focused on developing technologies to reduce costs in space exploration. This is historical right now. Okay. Now, the SpaceX IPO is either going to be the greatest IPO in human history or it's going to be an absolute disaster. But what will happen is it probably will pump dramatically and then it will dump. Okay. Very important. If you guys were on the New Wealth Transfer podcast, yes, I put a bid in for 100 shares. I'm just going to sit tight, see if I get those bids, and I'm going to hold it. Okay. If it goes up, I'm going to pull my initial investment out. Okay. I'm going to let that ride. Simple. But what somebody asked a great question. They said, that's money that I'm willing to gamble. Okay. What we usually do is when it comes collapsing down, because the people who are pre IPO are going to liquidate, then we go in when it stabilizes. Okay. Remember, Warren Buffett made tons of money on Apple 16 years later. Okay. So this is really important. OpenAI files for an IPO, the latest in a stream of possible AI mega sales. Okay. This is what's coming, guys. Now, this is important to pay attention to. This is the Buffett indicator, market cap to GDP. So I want you to see this real quick. Okay. Remember, I talked about the 2000s. Okay. If you look here, so the 2000s, we had a collapse right here. Okay. Subprime mortgages were created right here. Okay. Then we had the tech. The 1996 was a Telecom Act right here, Telecom Act. So this is important. Telecom Act was created. Boom, huge run up. Boom, that collapsed down. So then, okay, they created subprime mortgages. Down, 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 down. Boom, right here. Okay. This is the stock market compared to gross GDP. And then look at this. Comes down here, and then it just climbs and climbs and climbs. This is the valuation of the stock market compared to GDP. Look at that. 236, I think it goes up 236%. Look at this. So this is in 2007. Where are we at here? Am I on 2000? Yeah, 2007. The GDP to stock market was 104. Okay. This is overvaluation, by the way. In 2000, it was 134. Look at this. 2026 is 236%, almost double overvalued as to GDP. So these are the numbers. I don't know how you want to digest that or how you want to think about that, but we are thinking safety. We're thinking defense, right? We don't play games with our money. Okay. We don't play Russian roulette with our investments. We have an entry plan and we have an exit plan. So I'm entering crypto as everybody's running from it, because what's happening is crypto is being liquidated and people are flooding into AI technology. And when I got that call, I was like, Now, I don't know if it's going to collapse tomorrow, 6 months. I anticipate this is going to run hard through 2027. And you're probably going to see something in 2027 where the stock market comes down. Crypto's going to have its Bitcoin will have its roughest year this year. So it's also its enemy year. So it'll probably come down to, I believe, about 40,000 by October, November this year. Okay. We're in a bear market. So that's awesome. That's when you get rich. Okay. So what I'm doing is everybody's running to AI. I'm stuffing my bags in crypto. Okay. Then I think it's going to flip. This is just my opinion. I think crypto is going to start to climb its way out in 2027. Okay. Then you're going to see probably some faulty stock market in AI. Then you're going to go into the Bitcoin halving in 2028. What is it, like April, May 2028? Then we start the run up. You usually have a presidential election, stock market bullish, presidential when they're campaigning. Then you have the new president will come in 2028, I think it is, right? 2028. And then, the Bitcoin halving, then about 6 months after the Bitcoin halving, you see it skyrocket. And I'm pulling profits, man. Not off my Bitcoin, off my altcoins. And I'm going heavy, and just like I've done my same cycle. So what I do is I create cash flow. That's what I did the last cycle. I did it this cycle. I create cash flow so I can buy the bear market. Okay. I put in depreciating assets to beat inflation. I get out as everybody's coming in. I go in as everybody's running. Very simple. Just reverse engineer everything. I put it into protection, creating family banks. I'm opening up my largest policy right now. I got all my medical stuff that I blood tests and stuff on Friday. I have to go through some pretty rigorous financials and all that stuff. So I'm opening up a huge policy because I'm going to stuff money in that from my liquidity events from the bull run, right? By stuffing money in there, I have protected principal and I have a huge family bank, and I have liquidity for my family, tax-free income going from the death benefit into our trust. Okay. Then what I do is when the markets come collapsing down, now I have family banks. I have one that's a leverage policy, and this is going to be my massive liquidity policy. Then I leverage from my own bank and I go back in, richest man in Babylon. So I'm not trying to create fear. I'm trying to help you guys think logically. Okay. Subprime mortgages pushed everybody into mortgages. Everybody was getting rich until they weren't. But what happened to the middle class? They got rocked. What happened to the 1%? They got wealthier. Oh, that's weird. Then from 2006 to 2026, the wealth gap has become way bigger. Hmm. So now they're going to suck your 401ks up into AI technology. That's interesting. So you'll probably have a nice little boom going on here. They're going to pull liquidity at some point. They're going to pull profits. So maybe you should pull profits. I don't know. Maybe you should get some profits off the table and build some security and stop being vertical. The 1% trade back and forth, what you see as retirement. Now they're going to suck your retirement up into a bubble. I don't know. It feels odd to me. It feels weird. Now I could be wrong, right? So the fact that I could be wrong is I play it safe. I don't sit in one asset class. I'm not waiting for XRP to go to $1,000. I'm not waiting for Nvidia to do this or do that. I move money through the system. And one thing that's guaranteed is insurance. One thing that's guaranteed is annuities. Okay. One thing that's guaranteed is businesses that I can control. Okay. One thing that's, I create cash flow that I can control and then I can move through the system. One thing that's guaranteed is my silver. Okay. Remember, JP Morgan said this: gold is money, everything else is credit. Okay. So I invented what's called Capital DR. It's changed 15,000 people's lives. So down below, you can actually join to see if you're a good fit for our Capital DR system. So if you go down to this YouTube description or on my social media platform, click the link. You can actually interview with my team to see if you're a good fit for our Capital DR system. It's a system. We teach you what I'm talking about. It's not an investment. Education platform, example portfolios, understanding what it looks like, how to execute, what is cash flow, how do you get into dividend stocks. It's education and teaching and empowering you how to understand this type of stuff. So we have over 8 calls per week. We have live calls, community calls, coaching calls, all kinds of stuff to help support you. Remember, it's not investment. It is a coaching and education platform to empower you to take sovereignty of your wealth. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'll see you on the inside. Warriors, let's get your shit together. Let's go.